Well, you heard it many times before. Actually, we've been in one of the longest streaks where the stock and equity prices in stocks and of the Dow and the S&P has been rising for many months in a row. And I guess the only time it went longer than that was in the 20s. But back in the 20s, there was a lot of production. That was the new industrial revolution. The United States was the #1 industrial power in the world. We just came off of World War I, and we weren't on the losing side. So, the USA actually had a lot to look forward to, even though, in 2020 vision, in hindsight, we know what happened in 29. But actually, the big crash was in 32. Now, what happened in 2008, and actually early 2009 was when they really had the equities crash fully. That was the lowest point, early 2009. We still have not recovered from it. I know there's all these little theories out there about we really only papered over the problem, but I can tell you right now what's going on is they are dumping stocks like crazy, especially the big pensions, the big investors with the investment funds, the pension funds, institutional funds are the main ones dumping the stocks. The least the ones that are dumping are private clients, and the hedge funds are also dumping them. But really, who's really dropping off is the institutional funds, and that's telling us that we're heading into a time where, being frugal is going to be the watchword of the day. You probably can all be riding Vespas, because I think there's other things coming on the line because of, this isn't a doom and gloom video, man. I mean, I don't put charts out there. I try to make light of all this garbage, but I'm going to have to freaking give you the raw freaking story here, man. I can't be freaking telling you a bunch of candy-coated garbage, even though I'm not trying to scare people for profit or anything. The situation is bad. They never really fixed the situation. When they had the stock market and when they had the housing market collapse with leveraged housing prices, I mean, that was like the worst bubble you could possibly have, because 50% of the economy is related to real estate and the construction industry. It doesn't necessarily have to be the sticks, the bricks, and the mortar, but it's all those corollary industries, like it could be, the real estate sales, but also the title searches, the financing, the sales aspect, even the maintenance on it, the design. I don't know. There's so many other freaking areas that you can't think of. I'm not thinking. Oh, the insurance. Yeah, I forgot about that. The insurance on commercial liability insurance, like when people are doing construction and stuff, and workers' comp insurance. There's a lot of money flowing around involved in real estate, And actually, during the 50s, we had crashes too. Not during the time 56 when this car was made. It's 56, but 2 years later after that, they had the 56 Chevy, the 57, 55, 56, 57. You don't see too many 58 Chevys, even though it was a cool one. Why? Because that was the time of the recession. So we've had some pretty bad times before, and we've had some pretty bad times in the 30s. Now, where I think I really bodes pretty bad for the future here is that I think a lot of people are so dependent upon, like, food stamps and other things they're getting from the government, that they're going to be screwed. And, back in the 30s, you might think it was a rough time during the Depression, but a lot of people knew better how to, survive on their own. Now, I know this is a silver update, and I'm going to tell you that, I actually put a lot about palladium up here too. Palladium and platinum seem to run together pretty close, but I'm going to tell you this. When the market crashes, palladium especially, probably even more so than platinum, is going to crash like crazy too. It should, because those are almost purely industrial metals, but it won't be for too long. Actually, when silver goes up, palladium and platinum, all three of the white metals are going to go up really high, and they should exceed the percentage gains in gold when the problems really occur. So actually, lucky 13 or 13 and a half on the 13/8 ball. We're not going to be too bad off when things really heat up. And our time will come with silver. There's no doubt about it. But I don't strictly have a silver channel, because I like to delve into a lot of other areas where people just do well for themselves, have good health, and they can just do things on their own. Because to survive, you just can't eat silver. You just can't power your house with silver. unless it's in your solar panels, and you can't fuel your car with silver. So, but I think it's still an extremely good investment. But like I said, you don't pour. Well, I was one guy that said you don't put all your money into it. I don't even know what the hell it's doing right now, to tell you the truth, because I don't really look at it all the time. I think it was going up yesterday and down last night or something. Because I don't really, I'm a guy that I don't, okay, it's down in the 15s, and the palladium and the platinum went up, bounced back a little bit, but and those are still down, and the markets, it's still over 18, the Dow's over 18,000, but what's interesting is, and I'm going to talk about this more, crude oil still seems to be creeping up. And that's one thing I'm really getting pissed at, because I want to be driving one of these classic cars like the '56 Cadillac, and I don't want to be spending like $8 a gallon on it unless we can figure something out. But this is an Elvis car here, man, the king. But anyway, like I said, I don't like using charts, man. It's ridiculous to use charts. But yeah, it's a fact though that the hedge funds, not the hedge funds, the institutional funds, they're really dropping, and all of them are, the private clients, the hedge funds, but the ones that are really dropping the stocks like crazy, selling them off, is the institutional. And yet you see the markets going up a little slightly. It's not really crashing. But that's a damn good indication that the writing's on the wall. We've been saying this well, in my case, I haven't really been... I know there's people out there talking about the end is near for the last 10 years. But I kind of look at it as like you got to prepare for the worst situation and hope for the best. Personally, I would love it if just silver went way to hell up and all the prices went way down. But I know that's not going to be a reality. I think oil prices are going to lead the charge. And actually, that's another indication. There's indications right now that oil prices are still creeping up. We got 61 on the WTI, and it wasn't that many months ago when they were predicting it was going to be down to $20 a barrel. It was like, get the hell out of here, man. So stupid. And well, they're not stupid, they're lying. Well, I said this a while ago, like Goldman Sachs was the #1 holder of double leveraged oil on the way up when it was down at $40 a barrel. I don't know if they sold it or not, but maybe they did. But I'm going to tell you, I think the United States is going to survive. I mean, you got these globalists like George Soros that he hates both the United States and Russia. And he thinks they're both bullies, Soros, right? And I don't know, in some ways it's kind of true. But, there's so many other big wigs that are even up in the 1 basis point that are like in his league that disagrees with him. There's a lot of things going on, actually. You really can't say what the elite are doing per se. It's because the elite don't even agree with each other. So a lot of people do want more power, no matter how much power they have on the top. But there's other people on the top that want the United States to still stay #1. The problem I have with them is I don't know if they wanted to have the United States stay #1 and still keep our Bill of Rights freedoms intact, especially the First, Second Amendment, and the 10th Amendment, where it guarantees everything else. But, it's a matter of, the situation in the United States, like these doom and gloomers that we always have out there. We've had a lot of problems before that was freaking way worse than they are today. The one thing that bugs me is I'm looking at, the debt clock, and we got almost 18.5 trillion on the debt. They say the point of no return is 24 trillion. It may even be before that. And, we're coming up on that pretty soon. But before we hit that point of no return, we're going to have a downturn in the stock markets. And just like I said, the big institutional investors are dumping them like crazy for a reason. And if we have say we have a crash in the markets, and I don't know what it is. Say it's a 20% or 30% correction, like not more than 10%. Like it has to be more than 10% to be considered a crash. Let's say it was a 30% correction. That's a lot. But when they had the stock market crash in 29, the big one was actually in 32, the one you don't hear about. And that might be the situation that we come up with that hits us. This time, because it's not going to be one event. They had a stock market that crashed at 29, and it recovered and got most of the way up, and then came down again in 32, and then went up again, and it came down again in 36. This is the kind of crap that we probably got to look forward to, and actually the major media's been talking about it. It's probably going to be stagnant for 10 years. But, you know, I'm not one of those people who just want to sit on my ass and freaking just, you know, get money off of freaking investing and stuff. I mean, if I did, fine. I mean, I'd probably be like Jay Leno and have 1 million cars in my garage or some shit. That's what I'd be doing, you know. If I had money like him, you know, I'd be like having a lot of cars in my garage, you know. I'd be spending this stuff, you know. But it's like, you know, I don't think it's, you know, I don't think we're going to recover like it's not going to be a rosy picture. But then again, it's not all doom and gloom. If you could freaking just keep your eye on the ball and get out of your head out of the giddy rumors and stuff. The silver's going to do you a lot of good, but it's not going to be the hedge for every aspect of what's going to be coming down the pike. And you know, the Illuminati and the lizard people, they're starting to show their true colors, because, you know, it's a matter of, you know, how is it, you know, how are they going to, you know, it's, well, for one, I think a lot of things, there's a lot of false flags going on. I know I've been seeing a lot of different theories about false flags with, I mean, I knew about the 911 a million years ago and everything, but there's a lot of them out there. But as long as people are kind of aware that something's up, you know, I don't think they'll be able to outsmart us. And really, like I always said, the way to outsmart them is just hands-on. Cottage industry. You know, they can't measure what you actually do and that you don't write down that benefits you, and don't write it down on a number and it's not transferred electronically. You know, the lizard people, whatever you want to call them. Here's the lizard people right here. She's a lizard. She's an obvious lizard person. You can tell by the scales, right? The lizard people aren't going to know. Freaking, I don't believe in lizard people. I'm just kidding. But, you know, they always talk about that shit. The lizard people aren't going to know what you're doing, okay? It's like if you have a financial benefit by fixing your own plumbing in your house, or fixing your own electrical, or doing your own roof, or fixing your own car, or fixing your own windows on your house, or whatever the hell it is. You know, you're not writing down that, you know, I spent so much money, but because it's your labor, right? It's your skilled labor, right? So, I mean, it's kind of like all off the radar. It's like hands-on, real-world stuff. You know, and that's the beauty of silver, too, right? It's hands-on, real-world money. And, you know, maybe it's not worth something to Mr. freaking Wall Street, but then again, if you're working within a group of stand-up people that really work hard, yeah, you know, it is worth something. But I think what they got planned, though, before they really have, you know, I'm already telling you what it is here, man. I think they already got planned for, like, before they have a real financial crash in the United States. I think they go to war, man. I don't know what it's going to be, but, you know, every time there's like a major domestic problems or major problems in the markets or something, and they go to war, right? And it always seems that economic chaos and worldwide recessions and depressions, they lead to war. I hate to say this because it's too bad to think about, but I think it's reality if you look back all the way back. I mean, what the hell happened with World War I? What happened with World War II? I mean, right now, we're not the only ones that are having economic problems here in the United States. Europe's a lot worse off. Russia's in a hurt locker. They're having a lot of problems. China's economy's going way down. And usually the solution is war. That's what the freaking leaders do. That's what the lizard people do, right? So, you know, and if that comes about, I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest things you really got to worry about most, more than silver, is food. And I'm not a very good person on making growing stuff. I don't want to grow. I'm from New Jersey, man. I mean, you know, it's the garden state, but in reality, it's the garbage state, man. Especially where I was. I was not too far from New York City, actually. I don't know nothing about growing anything, man. I can freaking turn a wrench, but that's about it. But, actually, I'll be out there doing my car here. If you saw my last video on my Sebring convertible, which was jumped the timing due to a little piece of plastic coming off the valve cover, the timing cover. Got caught in there. I was like, what a. But anyway, yeah, everything's like made cheap, right? Unless you get one of these rat rods, and that is going to be one of my next cars, man. I'll tell you the truth, man. I think the next time if I get a pile of extra money, it's going into. I'm thinking about this, man. A rat rod. The hell with it. Something true Americana all the way. But I don't think silver's going down to no $10 or nothing like that. I can tell you that right now. That would be freaking depressing as all hell. But I hope not. There's a limit. Oh, this is what I was forgetting to say. I was leading up to something about the oil. Right now, there's a lot of competition amongst the Wall Street sharks to be buying up a lot of the oil infrastructure, the oil pipelines, and all this stuff, and all the key components of the industry, because it's on the way up. And I was saying this all along. I was theorizing this all along, but it's not too much of a theory, because I know the oil industry's rigged. I mean, they partly brought this stuff down to punish Russia, because Russia had this, was hell bent on military expansion. This way, they had a lot less money to do so. But the other thing is, they crushed the industry over here, but they didn't crush it where, the capital assets are still gone. Now, all the infrastructure's there, all the capital assets are still there. They just crushed the price of oil. So then the big fat rat cats, whatever you want to call them, the big fat cats up there in Wall Street can come in there and buy everything up dirt cheap without doing any of the footwork. And that's what they're doing right now. They see opportunity, and right now they got a bidding war going on various oil infrastructure for pipelines, exploration and drilling and stuff like that. Because you look at the number of oil rigs that are in production. How many of them have been going up? It's been going off the side of the cliff in the United States. Oil rigs in the United States have been dropping like a stone. The chart looks like a cliff. I mean, I'm not going to put the chart up there, but it looks like a cliff. And they can't they're not going to bother with freaking drilling for oil if the prices are too low. But in the meantime, they got to have that cash flow. So what's going on? Maybe they're selling real cheap. And Wall Street's in there, and they're fighting amongst each other to buy the stuff. So I think it's going up. I think it's going up a lot. And when it does go up a lot, that's when you're going to see the silver, not just the gold, but you're going to see the silver, platinum, and palladium rise. Actually, back in 1979, the percentage gains on silver, they're also about the same percentage gains on palladium and platinum. I think palladium now, since it's they say it's 30 times more rare than gold. I don't know if it's 30 times more rare, but it's a lot more rare than gold, and it's used up all over the place, and they're trying to recycle more of it, but most of it's not recycled. And with all the emissions requirements, and they're not going to all go on electric cars right away, I can tell you that right now, because they're too expensive, and there's a lot of other safety problems with them, and they're expensive in a long-term investment. Gasoline-powered cars are going to be around a long time. With all this emission stuff, there's going to be they're all going to require catalysts, and those hybrids require 30% more palladium than regular cars. Even though palladium, I think, is going to take a big hit because it's about 90-something% industrial metal when the stock market goes way down, I think it's got the most potential to hit the highest heights in percentage gains. It should eventually exceed the price of gold. It should. But it's like the tortoise and the hare. You heard about the race between the tortoise and the hare? I can tell you what, for every freaking 20 investors out there that wants to make a quick buck, there's only one out there that really has the patience. You could tell the people that want to make a quick buck because they flip their position on silver every 2 weeks, but by which way the wind is blowing, right? One day they're like, oh, did you be hyper? Well, actually, there is hyperinflation right around the corner, and there will be. I hate to say that. I wish there'd just be hyperinflation only in silver. But the reality is it's going to be hyperinflation in silver, food, and energy. So you're going to need that silver. I hate to say this because I'm a big advocate of DIY Auto School and Pete Downer and Southwest Custom and Rod, but I think one area that's going to get clobbered is classic cars. Because you know what? Those assets that people have when they need cash, they don't really do nothing. They just sit there. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want, I'm going to buy them because I'm thinking that's when I really want to. That's when I really want to move in on that shit. Not now. Not now. Classic cars, classic bikes. I think they're going to go way the hell down eventually when this situation gets bad. But then again, there might be a serious market for people that are very skilled in, fixing cars, doing body work and stuff. Because the way things are going, it's a little bit unrelated to silver. They're going to only be making us drive electronic Google cars, and I'm like, nobody wants to do that shit. You know what I mean? I'd rather drive this car right here, this thing with the rust on it and shit, just like that. Not the 55, but this thing. I'd take this over a Google car any day, man. Flames backfiring and belching smoke and shit, and loud, noisy, vibrating, rattling, metal clanging. It'd be a lot more fun. Manual steering so the woman can't drive it. Manual brakes. Real guy's car, man. It's my car, man. You ain't driving it, bitch. It's mine. You're in a passenger seat. You can't drive it. Don't have power steering. So, anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, actually, reality of the situation is, the worst bubble was the freaking real estate, and it's not inflated, but real estate prices are going to take another hit. That's one area besides the stock market. They're getting ready to take a major hit. And what do you call it? Everybody's dumping out of the stocks, especially the big institutional holders. It's dropping off like a cliff. And also, the Wall Street sharks are waiting on a sideline, and well, not they're waiting on a sideline. Now they're actively bidding for all the distressed oil company assets that are in trouble. They want them. Why? I think there's going to be a war in the Middle East, and then a big war, and then oil price is going to go way up, and that's when you're going to see your gold and everything. And here's something else too. Man, I hate the thought of this because I don't like Jeb Bush. I mean, even just not just because his name is Bush, but I mean I dislike Hillary Clinton even more. But it might be Bush versus Clinton, and both of those people are total hawks. But it might be good for your freaking silver. I mean, not that I want it to go that way. I'd rather have the silver go down to zero, avoid and have peace and a great economy, and but that's not the reality. It's not what's going to happen. If we got Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton, I mean that sucks. I mean, I'm not voting for either one of those, but one of those two is going to win. It's not going to be the third party because there's less than 1% of the people that think like me, and it'd probably be Hillary because Bush would be running against her. But even if Bush won, we're going to war. They're both hawks. So that's when you're going to see oil, gold, silver, platinum, and palladium go right through the freaking roof, man. So maybe it is some years off the right way, but it's not that many years off because I think Obama's basically well, let's say I think the market's going to crash this year in 2015. Like I said, these guys are all moving out of it. I mean, I've been showing there's been net outflows of cash for a long time, but now it's getting ridiculous. It's getting even more net outflows of cash out of the markets, especially by the institutional investors who know the most, right? I'm going to tell you right now that when this crashes, basically, Obama's going to have basically 1 year left. He's a lame duck president. He's on a second term, 1 year left. Anyway, I hate politics, man. I don't like all those politicians. They're a bunch of yo-yos, man. But, I'm trying to give you some straight scoop on this silver shit, because, you know, the people are telling you it's going to take 20 years or it's never going to go up. They're wrong. They're wrong. It throws everybody off for a loop, man. But when it goes up, it just takes a life of its own. And almost always the catalyst is the Middle East. And we got a lot of things on the burner that can make the catalyst really ignite in the Middle East. It's when Saudi gets in a shooting war and some of their oil refineries are getting blown up. Oh, you're going to see oil go up. You're going to see gold go up, silver, platinum, and palladium. That's when it's going to take off like a rocket. And unfortunately, your oil is going to be going up and your food's going up. Your gas in your car, and your heating in your home, and your food. So you're going to need that silver, man. Don't sell out, okay?